Um, on our Thursday night historical book club. That's our new plan. That is our plan for this month. Partially because I don't know, stuff just keeps changing. Yeah, stuff.
It'll go back to normal though.
Yeah, not to whatever that is. Because I'm going to something. It had to do with going to the opera, and I'm gonna go to Seattle.
And that's when.
Next week.
Next week.
And so it just had to do with why. That's why we're like. That some good friends of mine have had that I have never met. I really want to meet. So, you know how it is when you and see some of my friends, my really close friends. A couple people have moved, so that makes life a little easier. But you know how it is when you visit people and you're trying to get to see everyone. Okay, so news coming out of Malaysia is that Malaysia announces that it will abolish the death penalty for all crimes. So it's like, move the fuck on, U.S., okay? But, I mean, that's interesting because, I mean, we've been talking about Malaysia and the becoming, getting a better human rights record, and so that goes right along with it, and so we'll be following that definitely, since one of my new favorite people is the deputy prime minister of Malaysia. Him and Abiy Ahmed and Joe Biden. Those are my favorite leaders. So one of the things that's been happening in the United States is, have you who Adnan Khashoggi, the journalist, is?
No, who's that exactly?
Okay, he is a journalist that he's Saudi. He's a Washington Post journalist who has disappeared in Saudi Arabia. So God, I suddenly forgot if he. Okay, he is Turkish. He's Turkish, and he disappeared. He's Saudi, but he disappeared going into the Turkish embassy. And so what's interesting about that is that our government has this buddy supposedly relationship with Saudi Arabia, and this guy writes for the Washington Post. So not only is he like a journalist, and Trump hates journalists, he writes for the Washington Post, which Trump hates, and the Trumps love the Saudi royal family, because they are like they're just like they're like totally buddy with the Saudis. So Trump's been silent about Khashoggi, but or he was, but now he is speaking out against the Saudi government, or not against it. It's kind of like he was a little bit. I think he's trying to play it the same way he plays Putin and hacking the election. Like, well, I don't know. I mean, everything shows that something happened, but well, I don't know. So he's saying that we need to know what happened to Khashoggi. It's a bad time of year. It's a rough time to be a journalist. It's really rough in the Balkans and Russia. I mean, that whole part of the world. There was just another journalist killed around there, and I don't remember exactly which country, but it is a very difficult place to be a journalist. So Khashoggi's been in the press a lot this week. So we'll see. what happens with that, and then okay. one of the things that when we were playing Paris in the Conscious Daughters last week. It was so fun when I I met him like a long time ago, like in the tape shop, this little tape shop in Bayview where I was buying the Conscious Daughters tape. It was like that long ago. We had cassettes and so I had him autograph it. I was really excited.
Nice.
Yeah. I wish I still had that cassette. I was going around. I taught. I was also like posting up flyers for. I taught kids there, and my kids were doing a reading, and so I gave him a flyer and invited him to my students' reading. He didn't come, but yes, he was very nice.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah. That's who we were doing. Last week, and so Trump is talking about having another North Korea summit. That's
Lord.
I know, because nothing happened at the.
Yeah, I'm tired of hearing it now.
This
This is just annoying me now.
Yeah. And then in Great Britain, is still not knowing about Brexit, about Brexit. There's like a countdown for that, and we have to check, and we have to check on the and see if the leader of Hungary, to my knowledge, the leader of Hungary has not passed more anti-immigration bills. Since we were last here. So so there's local politics, which I've just been trying to duck out of a little bit. That hasn't been very interesting. So there's a store. Oh, okay. No, I just can't even. I have like 2 stories that I don't even know how I can describe. That I'm following this case of these children that were adopted by abusers who just gave them a terrible life and then drove off a cliff. And then it's really sad. And there's just a lot of institutional racism in it, and so there's these kids they just slipped through the cracks. They had terrible adoptive parents who were reported by different people, and they just kept managing to scam. And so one of the it seems like they may have found a biological relative, because some of the biological relatives didn't even know where the kids had been taken, and it was they had these were kids that the kids that are known about, they were removed from the mom's home because of like problems, but they had an aunt who really wanted to take care of them, and they had like extended family, but they were just like put up for adoption, allowed to be like taken out of the state. And it's not supposed to be like that. Your kids are supposed to be near extended family, and there's supposed to be support for them to be raised by extended family, if extended family can provide a good home. So it's just something. That's just been something I'm following. Just I don't know, because I have some familiarity with some of that. Yeah. So okay, I'm gonna pop some more music on. Oh no, okay.
Yeah, we only got.
I know. Okay, no, I won't. I hate this feel. Yeah, I know. I hate this feeling of like. I always think I have like more material. Sometimes I think I have more material than I do. But yeah, we go on for a long time. I just feel like sometimes I just need to. Like, I know. That's why I was about to go do some music.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, that's forcing it.
Well,
You got 15 minutes left.
well, yeah. So that's why I was about to play some music, but okay, wow. Somebody was talking to me about weapons the other day. I got a chance to talk. I was talking with somebody about who'd. This is always really interesting to me. Who'd been in the military, and he was from a military family, and we were talking about this because somehow, because I think he saw that I was reading the book about John Kerry, and then Kerry fought in Vietnam. His dad fought in World War II, and his grandfather fought in World War I. So that's like, whoa. That's just a heritage thing. And so the person I was talking to was also from a family like that, and his grandfather had worked for OSS, and I was interested, the Operation of Selective Service. And OSS was a program that, a United States program that was the precursor to the CIA. And they came up with this during World War II, and the reasons I know about it, well, some of the reasons I know about it is because Ralph Bunche worked for the OSS, and Ralph Bunche, who worked for the United Nations, he's one of my guys. He's one of the people I study, and the OSS did a lot of work in Africa, and to try and protect the U.S.'s economic interest there. But one of the things which I know more about, because it's in my area, was they were in Katanga, they were in DR Congo, to mine uranium for the atom bomb. Katanga has the richest. It has like the best bomb making material around, apparently. So that's and I know about that because of Doug Hammarskjöld in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Ralph Bunche. So that's kind of my whole area. So I was really interested to find out that his grandfather worked for OSS. But Ralph Bunche worked for OSS because he had been studying colonialism, and he knew Africa really, really well. And it was an interesting period of where there were people that were sort of trying to like hang tight and play along with things during World War II in the hopes of gaining more freedom after the war was over. And in some cases that worked, and in some cases it didn't. But I mean, for example, it really changed things in Kenya, because Kenya was a colony of England then, because they fucking sent people off to die in the war, and then they came back home and were expected to still be living under colonialism. But so that was Kenya. And then they wound up having Great Britain committed serious human rights abuses against the Kenyans. So OSS, I mean, it was just interesting because it's hard to separate. It was just very tied in with American economic interests, and trying to make sure that just trying to control like what would happen with Italy after World War II. Italy was broke, but OSS was really busy in Congo, and because to try and mine the uranium, and that area was Katanga, and that's where that was the area that seceded after DR Congo became independent, because Katanga has always just been and it seceded backed by Belgium with the support of basically of the U.S. And then you get to and I sort of, I mean, I started with all this because I was interested in Dag Hammarskjöld and kept like working outward, and that's where a lot of that, where I got interested in a lot of that other stuff. But when this was happening with OSS and World War II, Congo was still a colony of Belgium, and just we've talked about that, and just undergoing just major human rights abuses, and just ruining the country. Oh, okay. Now remember we were talking about awards for Africans. There's a wonderful gentleman named Dr. Dennis Mukwege, who is a gynecologist in Congo, and he's the only gynecologist in Congo, and he treats rape victims. Congo is known as the rape capital of the world. Rape is used as a weapon of war, and Dr. Mukwege has pioneered surgeries, or just to try and repair what's been done to people. And so in between trying to save lives, he campaigns against sexual assault. So he was awarded the Nobel Prize, and he shared it with a Yazidi woman. And the Yazidis were people that were captured by ISIS, and the women were made into sex slaves by ISIS. And so in an extremely, and again, it's one of the things that's so scary, or stuff's scary in different ways. I mean, ISIS is very systematic. I mean, everything is documented. They had rules and codes for how sex slavery was supposed to work. So this woman escaped, and she's testified in front of the United Nations about what happened to her. So the award was shared between her and the Yazidi woman and Dr. Dennis Mukwege. So, I mean, during a week where the United States was blowing off a lot of women's concerns about rape, it was nice to see that anti-rape campaigners were awarded the Nobel Prize. But, okay, so since I got to this, the problem I had with the Kavanaugh hearing is that I do believe, I think that juvenile offenders, I believe very strongly in juvenile offenders being given another chance. And so, if anything had come up, so what really bothered me, he just went about this, and it all happened in a way that I just felt like any other sexual assault case, I would have wanted him nailed. But so the problem, so if Kavanaugh had displayed any dignity or humility when he spoke, and if he hadn't lied, I would have felt differently about it. But to me, his temperament, his demeanor, how he behaved, that showed me that he is not. I don't think that he has the temperament and the personality to be a good judge. But I was like, shit, again, we can't, people need to be able to have chances, and people need to be able to learn. I just feel, if I thought that we need to not give up on young people, and they can learn. We live in a violent world where violence is accepted, and I don't think that we should just write people off forever. So it just sucked. It sucked all around. And, you know, if this was going to be the... I mean, it sucks that he was able to act that way and, like, lose his temper and be so disrespectful and, you know, bullshit about all these questions and still get on the Supreme Court. And... yeah, so that's what sucks about the whole thing. But at least the Nobel Prize Committee awarded some anti-right campaigners. But I was like, wow. I mean, Dr. Mukwege, I mean, it's just, I followed his career for a long time. He's been nominated for the Nobel Prize several times, and so it was really great. It was really great that he got it. Congratulations, Dr. Mukwege. And, you know, man, there was just some more rebel attacks in Congo, like this week. I mean, I don't fucking know. But see, again, it's like if you have an international sort of perspective, like, you know, you see people trying to, you need to try and move on. You need to try and teach people, you know, and you look at some place like Congo which is like a rape epidemic, or, you know, rape is a weapon of war and all of that, but people do try and go on living because it's just such a huge part of the population. So, you know, I mean, again, the United States needs to look at things in perspective. And, you know, I wouldn't have gone back to... I would not have done what she did. I would not have gone back in my life and to anybody that hurt me 35 years ago. Because I just would feel that, like, either they became better people or they continued on the same path, in which case, you know, in which case adults would be turning them in which case somebody else would be turning, you know, like, people... I just wouldn't have done it. So I don't know. I kept, like, almost hoping, like, not, you know, like, God, why can't, if some people would just come out, like, talking about stuff he did as an adult, this would all make much more sense to me. But, yes. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, and I still think that, I don't know. We'll see. We can talk about precedent and all of that, but, you know, we'll see how endangered choice is. So, thank you so much for watching, Maurice. We still want to get you on here, and thank you to Esther and to Ace and everybody that listened.
Yes.
And super excited.
Yes, we are.
We are.
We love our guests.
We do. We really do.
And our watchers, man. We love them.
We do. So, we'll be back 2 weeks from now on a Thursday.
On Thursday.
So.
All right.
Okay, good night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.